What is going on, FA Nation? Justin Fensterman back with you with another season of Fantasy Alarms ADP TV. As we prepare for our fantasy football drafts, let's talk about where players are going in these drafts, and we'll talk about trendy players, which players' ADPs could be on the rise, and others who could be falling in the coming weeks for various reasons. We'll hit on different players, spotlight them, and maybe find you some values and players you should just stay away from. Let's get right down to the action. When it comes to players whose ADPs could be on the rise, going to give you a few receivers for episode 1 here. Let's start with Allen Robinson. Going late 4th, early 5th round, and if you're going with a wide receiver heavy build, would love this guy as my 3rd or even 4th receiver. Much improved quarterback situation with Matthew Stafford throwing him the ball, and Stafford threw over 600 passes last season. And a lot of focus early on will be on that super wide receiver Cooper Kupp, who was near unstoppable last year. So while teams figure out ways to keep Kupp limited, Robinson should be left without prioritized coverage, and he should absolutely take advantage. How about this draft darling from the Buffalo Bills, Gabriel Davis, going in the early to mid-5th round of 12-team leagues. He's a big receiver who apparently bulked up, and he has a ton of speed and crushed it in the playoffs against the Kansas City Chiefs. This year, no Cole Beasley or Emmanuel Sanders to deal with, and he will operate as the established second option when it comes to wide receiver prioritization behind Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen threw the 4th most passes of any quarterback last season and chucked in 36 touchdowns, and Davis is double-digit touchdown bound heading into 2022. Let's also not forget about Robert Woods. He's going outside the top 100 when it comes to fantasy football drafts, meaning in 12-team leagues, you're getting this guy in the 9th round. What value? Amazing value. That's what. Despite coming off the torn ACL, we haven't been given any reason to think that Woods won't be ready for week 1. And he doesn't have the wide receiver competition he had in LA. Nick Westbrook-Akina, Treylon Burks, they don't scare me. They shouldn't scare you. Woods should easily get most of these targets. Derrick Henry being back, how many more carries can they give this guy? Robert Woods will still be heavily utilized in the Titans offense. Now for some players trending down, let's start with Alvin Kamara. He's currently going in the early to mid-3rd round. He didn't run the ball as effectively last year, averaging a career-low 3.7 yards per carry. Wasn't targeted as much in the Saints' offense either. And this could continue as the Saints have a stronger wide receiver group heading into this year. Oh yeah, and let's not forget about his legal situation, with his trial set to begin in August, and there's a chance Kamara could be looking at a suspension from the league, but without a timetable on when or how long that suspension could be, or when the trial could even end. We don't know what we're working with when it comes to Alvin Kamara, and that makes him a true definition of a high-risk, high-reward type of draft pick. Early 3rd round, no thanks. I'm passing right now because of this crazy, confusing legal situation. Also trending down, Antonio Gibson. Gibson is currently going at the end of the 5th round, and he dealt with a lot of lower body injuries last year, played through it, and still rushed for over 1,000 yards. But with re-signing J.D. McKissic and drafting Brian Robinson, who is around the same size as Gibson, did the Commanders just not believe in this guy? Let's also not forget that Gibson was utilized as a wide receiver in college, and the Washington Football Organization, now known as the Commanders, have yet to really see what they can get from him as a receiver. J.D. McKissic will certainly get fat short passes, and Brian Robinson could vulture Gibson for touchdowns. Finally, trending down, DK Metcalf. He's going towards the end of the 4th round. Inconsistent fantasy production after Russell Wilson got hurt last year, and he's not a double-digit targeted guy consistently. Who's throwing in the football in Seattle? Drew Lock, Geno Smith? Are either really that appealing? Or are we really all hanging our hats on a Jimmy Garoppolo trade? Too many questions that will directly impact Metcalf's production. End of 4th round, other receivers in safer situations, and that's why I at least am passing.